Joe Nedney shows you why he has replaced Stoyanovich. Stoyanovich may have been the better place kicker, but Nedney with booming kickoffs, and that's one reason Jimmy Johnson made the choice for number 6 over Stoyo. Now the Indianapolis Colts, the unbeaten Colts with Jim Harbaugh, captain comeback, led the league in pass rating last season. He has Lamont Warren and Zach Crockett in the backfield. Marshall Faulk is inactive, sprained toe. Dawkins and Harrison, a great-looking rookie wideout, and Dilger, the tight end. Ozine, Wydell, Loudermilk, Mollum, and Matthews in a revamped offensive line. From the 20-yard line, first down as they begin out of the eye with Harrison in motion, and Harbaugh telling him to hurry it up. And through the middle for a gain of a couple of yards with the ball loose at the 22-yard line. A fumble on the opening play. Lamont Warren, the ball carrier, and no signal yet from the official, and Indianapolis has recovered. Dick Hancock right there to signal second down. And it appeared Warren recovered his own fumble. So a gain of a little bit more than 2. And it will be second down and 7.
The Colts straight. Marshall Faulk unable to go again tonight because of a sprained toe. There he is. They should have him back after a week off next week when they go against Buffalo.
Play clock ticking down. The fake to Warren. Harbaugh buys time and then throws to Warren, and he's tackled short of the first down up at the 28-yard line. Steve Empman, the former Colt, makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 2. Armstrong, Empman, Bowens, and Stubbs up front. The linebackers, Hollier. We talked about Zach Thomas, the 5th-round draft choice, and Singleton. And then the secondary, Buckley and Jackson at the corners, and Oliver and Atkins at the safeties. Buckley and Oliver have intercepted passes in each of the Dolphins' first 3 games. Terrell has a total of 4. 3rd and 2.
4 wide for the Colts.
And Harbaugh out of the shotgun. 3 of the wideouts set to his right. Harbaugh throws incomplete. He tried to hit Brian Stabline, who was covered by Sean Hill. So it's 3 and out, but the Colts, in effect, pretty lucky because they almost coughed up the football in the first play.
Daniel Stubbs with a little bit of pressure there, Dan, from the outside, forcing Harbaugh to throw that just before he wanted to. Lindy Infante, the head coach, also calls the plays from the sidelines. A very unusual situation, but he didn't want to change it this year. Pressure from Stubbs. He had to deliver. Receiver not ready.
Troy Ozine at left tackle has not gotten off to the greatest of starts. He's a fairly solid player, but this is a revamped offensive line for the Colts that has not yet, let's say, found their sea legs, Frank. You're right. They have not gelled yet.
And the Colts were screwed up on their special teams here and have to take a timeout. In the gloaming, high above Indy as clouds and a little bit of rain begin to move in, but very comfortable, of course, as always, inside the dome. And O.J. McDuffie back to receive the punt. The Colts had only 10 men on the field, so had to take a timeout, and now Gardocki to kick. So 3 and out on the first series for Indianapolis, a minute and a half into the game. Good kick. 51 yards to the 21-yard line, and the flag goes down as McDuffie takes it back to the 27-yard line. Tackled there by Freddie Joe Nunn.
When you look at the start of that offensive series for the Colts guys, you know, we see it all the time that the hometown hype sometimes takes its toll early in the ball game on the hometown team. That they get a little caught up in it. That it's all anybody's been talking about for the last week, and it's only natural that at times it affects the players. And I'm sure Lindy Infante, the coach, is a little concerned about that.
Back during the return, number 37, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sometimes in that situation, it's really easier to start on defense.
Penalty against J.B. Brown, and now let's take a look at the Dolphins. Offensively, the great Dan Marino. First-round pick out of Pittsburgh in 1983 with the 2 rookies, Abdul-Jabbar and Pritchett, Thomas and McDuffie, the wideouts, and Keith Byers, the longtime fullback, now a full-time tight end. Webb Sims, Ruddy Gray, and James Brown up front. And that line has done a wonderful job run blocking in the first 3 games. That's McDuffie going in motion from the 15-yard line. And the first look at Abdul-Jabbar out of UCLA, and he gets taken down. Good play by the outside linebacker Stephen Grant, who salutes himself after making the tackle. No gain. Now the Colts defensively, their end Tony Bennett still hurt, so Whittington starts at left end with McCoy and Siragusa inside, and Steve Martin, a rookie, making his first NFL start. Alexander Harrod and Corey out of the linebackers. And the secondary, Buchanan, a great one, along with Daniel at the corners, and Tate and Belzer, the hard-hitting safeties.
Second and long, it should dictate pass, and Dan is not going to be able to change this thing with the noise. Listen to the crowd.
From the 15, the fake to buy time, and then he throws into traffic, and it's incomplete, and a flag goes down. Tony Siragusa nearly picked it off, but there's a marker down, and the penalty is against Miami for holding.
Well, almost certainly it's going to go against Tim Ruddy, their center.
Holding. Offense. Number 61. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Ruddy at center working against Tony McCoy, and McCoy got the strong upfield underarm on him, and he's forced to take the hold, but I guess fortunately for him, they're going to decline the penalty. Right on the right side of your screen right there, you see the hold. But listen to this crowd.
3rd and 9 from the 16. No score, 2.5 minutes into the game. Marino throws underneath to Jarris McPhail, another rookie, and he picks up the first down. They needed 9, got 14. He's up to the 29-yard line. Jarris McPhail, a rookie from East Carolina. So a rookie starting running back, a rookie starting fullback, and a rookie third down back.
Jarris McPhail is a good receiver, as is Pritchard. They're a big fullback. Pritchard, a fine receiver in college out of South Carolina. Look at this. So Jarris McPhail, who took the first pass of the game against the Jets, and the Dolphins went over the Jets last week from Marino for 52 yards. So they have good receivers out of the backfield.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Abdul-Jabbar over the left side for a gain of about 3 up to the 32. Steve Martin, the end, makes the tackle. Marino, as we mentioned at the very top, passing less and less, but they're 3-0. And there he is, 22 passes in the opener, 23 against Arizona, 23 against the Jets. First time in his career he's thrown fewer than 25 over a 3 consecutive game period. On 2nd and 8. He sidearms the ball into the arms of Stanley Pritchard, and the fullback takes it up to the 35-yard line. Pritchard, not a runner, but a great blocker and an outstanding receiver.
He did. As a senior at South Carolina, he had 62 receptions. He comes in tonight having caught 8 of them. He had a 74-yard touchdown pass against the Jets. And they really use these backs because Keith Byers is playing tight end, but he really is not a solid tight end that Dan Marino is confident in going to. Look at the sidearm delivery to avoid the interior lineman. Marino's got it all, Dan.
They came up the middle with pressure on Dan Marino, which is the most effective way to pressure Marino. The last 3rd down situation, they only came with 3 people, and the Dolphins converted. They're going to run out of time right here.
So each team has to take a timeout. Dan disgusted that he had to waste one here. 4:35 into the game, and the noise not making it any easier. Early in Indy, 0-0. Over from the Shula regime, but he'd also been with Jimmy Johnson in college football. Has remained as the offensive coordinator. He looks on as the Dolphins take a 3rd and 4 up to the 35-yard line early in the first quarter. Four-man conventional rush, and the pass is caught by Pritchard, who seeks the first down and appears to have it. He's rolled down by Stephen Grant, but Pritchard, with the presence of mind to know exactly where the marker was, reaches out and should have enough, and does, says Dick Hancock.
Oh, he's an exciting rookie. In the 4th round, the Dolphins picked him out of South Carolina. That ball had a lot of smoke on it. He handled it great. Right alley, knew exactly where he had to go. And this ball really has something on it. Marino zipping it in there, and Pritchard handles it beautifully. That's hard to catch. That ball was in a in a good position, but it had a lot on it. He knew exactly what he had to do for the first.
And Grant still hasn't gotten up. He now gets up and he'll walk off.
Keep in mind now, Stephen Grant is a guy who missed the Dallas game last week with a pulled groin muscle. Got off to a good start, but this is not good news for the Colts.
Another injury.
Pennzoil Performax 100. The first 100% synthetic motor oil at a breakthrough price presents Famous First. 100 receptions by one player in one season has been accomplished only 20 times. But 1995 yielded a bumper crop as no less than 9 players accomplished this feat. And the Detroit Lions, with their supercharged offense, became the initial team to field 2 receivers with over 100 catches in the same season.
Sometimes you just got to look to the heavens and say, wow.
What? I checked it twice. In pouring rain. No, it was nice. Ah, yes.
When you go, don't forget your Visa card, because the Hall takes the NFL's best, but not American Express.
See ya, Nitschke. It's vodka. Oh, yeah.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Big Ten meets Pac-10 when Michigan hosts UCLA, or other regional action featuring Penn State, Colorado, and Florida State. Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Not only is Stephen Grant out, but there's the great linebacker Quentin Coryat, who also gets some attention. So the starting outside linebackers for the moment are out. And you've got Elijah Alexander, number 50, in the game. And also Sammy Burroughs.
And keep in mind, Al, one of them, Trev Alberts, is already gone for the early part of the season. So it's a very depleted linebacker corps.
From the 39-yard line, Marino throws. And a nice catch is made on the near side by Lamar Thomas for a first down. And Dan, this is the same team that played last week's game against Dallas with about 25% of its payroll inactive.
Well, even tonight they're missing both of their starting defensive ends, and Ellis Johnson and Tony Bennett. And now with Grant sideline, Coryat sideline, Derek Frazier, who would have been a starting corner, has gone with a broken arm. We mentioned Alberts. And we're just on the defensive side of the football. Vintage Dan Marino, low and outside. Nobody in the world could catch that ball except Lamar Thomas. Beautifully thrown.
9 minutes to play in the opening quarter, a slow-moving quarter with no score. This is Miami's first possession, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can't go to the outside. He tried to, but Sammy Burroughs was right there to stop him. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford Escort. It's new and it's nifty, made for the smart, the intelligent, thrifty. Napa Auto Parts stores. At Napa, we keep America running. Microsoft Software, where do you want to go today? And Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. State capital of Indiana in your shot right there. Jimmy Johnson looking on as his team has its 9th play of the drive. Ready to be snapped. Second down and 11. And Marino tries to gun it into Thomas, who gets double-teamed and draws the flag. Eugene Daniel was there, along with Sammy Burroughs.
Eugene Daniel just a little early there.
Interference. Defense, number 38. First down.
That's so tough to defend against, that slant in when you're a defensive back, and you have a passer like Dan Marino. He's going to put it right on the money every time, and you have to time it out absolutely perfectly, or you're going to have the completion or the interference. You saw it right there. He got there before the ball.
Jimmy Johnson's are wild tonight. The head coach, you've got the defensive coordinator for the Colts, Jim Johnson. And we'll see the tight end, Jimmy Johnson, of the Philadelphia Eagles next week against Dallas. Marino going deep for McDuffie, and he adjusts and makes the catch, and then loses the ball out of bounds. A great adjustment by McDuffie to come back against Buchanan, and then when he fumbles it, it goes out of bounds, and Miami has a first and goal.
McDuffie is really developing into what they thought it'd be when they took him the first round 4 years ago. That was a great effort on his part. Marino just laying it up there. Ray Buchanan had pretty good position on him. He lost sight of the football and started to sprint with McDuffie. McDuffie pulled up an easy catch.
Marino, 5 of his first 6. Crowd trying to jam the signals. Abdul-Jabbar tackled at the 6-yard line by Tony Siragusa.
You know, Dan Marino is limping. Been watching him. He is having a hard time.
He always limps, Frank, but you're right. This is a
painful.
Too. He's almost hobbling now.
Here's the Coca-Cola Red Zone fact for tonight. Dan Marino, going back to the start of last season, has had 7 interceptions with the line of scrimmage inside the red zone. In other words, the opponent's 20-yard line, most by any player in the league. So we'll see if he can cash in and avoid the pickoff here as they have it 2nd down and goal from the 6-yard line. And he throws behind Lamar Thomas, covered by Daniel. It'll be 3rd down and goal now.
And Dan Marino is noticeably handicapped in the way he's moving. And that look, you can see right there, Dan Marino, I think it's his left leg.
I think you're right, Dan. I've been watching him, and he doesn't want to put weight on that right leg.
Or the right or the left? He's almost...
Either one. He's hurt.
Yeah, it's...
Might have been hit on the pass to McDuffie, the long pass, and clearly in some pain here. Play clock all the way down to 5 already. And gingerly, he stands in the pocket and throws incomplete through a bullet into the end zone intended for McDuffie. 4th down.
Well, McDuffie is claiming that he was interfered with, and it was very close. McDuffie drawing double coverage. And another Dolphin slow getting up.
And Marino gingerly walks off the field. And
that's Keith Sims, the left guard. That's their Pro Bowl left guard. They're looking at his left hand or left wrist. But the other part of the Dolphin training staff came out on the field to meet Dan Marino as he headed to the sidelines. Boy, and there's a guy looking for a bench.
Quickly.
And he is one of the toughest guys you'll ever see in a uniform, but he was in obvious pain for that entire series.
Everyone aware of his problems with his Achilles tendon, and you certainly hope that that's not the case, that that's resurfacing.
Injured it in 93 and missed most of the season as Nedney gets set for a 24-yard attempt. So the new Dolphin place kicker, who's had his troubles kicking field goals, he's already missed 3 field goals and a point after. It's an easy one from 24. Easy for us to say it. He just does bang it through. Jimmy exhales. Miami cashes in for 3. 7:05 to go in the period. Dolphins 3, Colts nothing.
Taking the tape off of his right leg. It was his right Achilles that he tore October 10th in 93 at that game in Cleveland. And they have taken the tape off around his ankle.
As Nedney kicks off, his first kickoff was a touchback. This one is a good kick. It's a yard deep in the end zone, and the stumbling Aaron Bailey comes out and brings it back to the 19. Now, if Marino can't go, you've got Bernie Kosar as the number 2 quarterback as Harbaugh gets set to come in, and Craig Erickson, the former Colt, is the number 3 quarterback.
That is Dan Marino's thumb and finger that we can see in the upper right part of our picture. They're pointing to his lower leg. Again, we don't want to speculate that it is the Achilles until we get some type of confirmation from the Dolphins bench.
I find it interesting Bernie Kosar is not even up off the bench warming up. So could be that, you know, he's got his cap on, very casual about it.
Well, Bernie's got to be ready to go, because if there's a turnover, Dan can't get out on the field that quickly.
I would think so.
From the 20-yard line, Harbaugh loves this play to throw on the run and hits the tight end, Ken Dilger, the emerging star, second-year tight end out of Illinois, who had 4 catches against the Jets for 20 or more yards each. Louis Oliver makes the tackle.
Dolphins are going to try to keep Jim Harbaugh from getting to the outside. That time you saw Trace Armstrong coming up field trying to contain him, but I'll tell you, he is good from the pocket, but when he gets outside of the pocket, he is really deadly. A superb athlete.
Second and a deuce. Zach Thomas, the 5th-round draft choice, the starting middle linebacker. Nice play as Gene Atkins makes the tackle on Zach Crockett, who gets his first carry of the night, and the first down up at the 33-yard line.
And the first down for the Colts offense, and that's as an offensive player, that's when you kind of take that sigh, that deep breath. Okay, we got a first down. We're starting to settle down a little bit. And again, all of South Florida holding their collective breath until we find out what's wrong with Dan Marino.
Lindy Infante in his first season as the Colts coach. Lindy coached the Packers from 88 through 91 and took over when Ted Marchibroda elected to move on to Baltimore. On first down, the pass is dropped this time by Crockett, who's covered on the play by Dwight Hollier with 5:44 to go in the opening quarter, and Miami on top 3-0. Well, next week, a vital game all of a sudden because the Dallas Cowboys are 1-3 and looking at a 3-game deficit in the East if they lose next week's game. The Cowboys, still minus Michael Irvin for one more game, will go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. And we understand Kevin Williams is now hurt for the Cowboys as well, so more problems for Dallas.
We have a smiling Dion there in our picture. I doubt there's a lot of smiling going on at Valley Ranch this week.
Big game next week at the Vet. Dallas, Philly, second down and 10. Harbaugh throws, and the catch is made by the rookie Marvin Harrison. He was the #1 draft choice out of Syracuse, and they think he is the real deal.
Well, that's coming back for the football. He came back either to the line of scrimmage or he might have caught that for a loss. Very close. Marvin Harrison, write this guy's name down, Frank. As we're all aware, this guy's big time and will be for quite a while.
He just came in total control of everything. He was at the first mini camp, signed a waiver before he signed his contract. He wanted to be here. He wanted to learn it, and he picked it up so quickly.
This guy is good.
Third down and 10 now with 5:05 to go in the opening quarter. Harbaugh protected well and then throws too high off the fingertips of Aaron Bailey. Just a little high.
Oh, and one Bailey, I'm sure, feels he should have had. It was high, but it was one that I'm sure he's telling himself he should have caught.
Now Kosar begins to loosen up.
Interesting. If something should happen to Kosar, they would come back with a former Colt, Craig Erickson.
That's just, you know, that would have been a circus catch for Bailey. I'm sure Jim Harbaugh disappointed over on the Colts bench. He had an open receiver and just tossed it a little high.
Chris Gardocki to punt. O.J. McDuffie back to receive it. And only a 36-yard boot, so a short one. Miami will take over at its 31. Wither Marino. It looks like it'll be Kosar with 4:49 to go in the quarter. 3 years we've been away. Beautiful new mall downtown. High rises. And what do they call it tonight? Rocking.
City Center or Center Mall. What it's
It'll take the lamination off your credit card. First down for Miami with Kosar in the game, and Abdul-Jabbar is stopped for no gain. And the report on Marino is a sprained right ankle. He'll be out for this series as they retape his foot and ankle, and then it's we'll see about the following series.
Well, I have to speculate, Dan, but Dan and I both watched them retape Marino's ankle, and I've never seen an ankle taped that way.
No, I'd never had either. And what has to happen now, the natural order is that Dan will get up. There it is. You see how they've incorporated his big toe. They've actually tied this tape job to his big toe. What Dan has to do now is get his shoes on, get up, take some drops, plant, put the weight on it, and see how he feels with it.
Second and 9. And Kosar with that familiar slingshot sidearm pass into the arms of O.J. McDuffie, and that's enough for a first down up at the 43-yard line. Tackled there by Jeff Harrod.
Kosar with a lot of victories with the Cleveland Browns in 9 years there, and a year with Jimmy Johnson down in Dallas before he spent the last 2 years here in Miami. We look again at tough pass to defend against, particularly with O.J. McDuffie. You get the ball into his hands, you like to get it to him early and let him run with the football.
But a huge plus for Miami right now is this newfound reliance on the running game.
Yep. Fred Barnett, part of the passing game, but hurt. They expect to have him back at the end of October. The wide receiver is Abdul-Jabbar, gets it up to the 47-yard line. He's tackled there by Alexander with 3:15 to go in the opening quarter.
I pointed out earlier, the Dolphins come in 3-0 with a good-looking ground game that Jimmy Johnson wanted from the very moment he got there. And
did you just see that?
Oh, he winced.
Did you see Dan? Did you see Dan's face as he put some weight on that right foot? Ooh, there's a classic picture worth 1,000 words.
It is now second down and 6. Marino was 5 of 8 for 67 yards. Now Kosar with the play fake to buy time, and the pass is knocked down. Getting a hand in was David Tate, the safety, reaching over the tight end, Brett Carolyn.
Well, we have seen some tight coverage by the Colts. Jimmy obviously feeling it's too tight. One penalty so far against the Colts, but these guys are all over. Oh, and that's just good old-fashioned solid coverage by David Tate. Now, again, watch Dan Marino. Not really trying to do anything. Just taking a step forward.
3rd down and 6. Miami up 3-0 late in the first quarter, and the pass is juggled and caught, but well short of the first down. Stanley Pritchett calls it in, but Eugene Daniel makes sure he goes no further than the 50, and it's 4th down, and they'll bring in the punting unit.
It'd be a tough loss for the Miami Dolphins, even with the fact this is a younger team. This is the team that is so dependent upon a Dan Marino, even though Bernie Kosar's been around a while, veteran with a lot of wins at Cleveland. You lose a Dan Marino, and not only does it affect you strategically, but it also affects you emotionally with a young team like this.
Marvin Harrison back to receive the kick on 4th down off the foot of John Kidd. And the 13-year veteran out of Northwestern floats one down that bounces at the 6-yard line and is down inside the 5-yard line. Robert Bailey is down there to pin the Colts very deep with $1:47 to go in the opening period. 47-yard punt. College football coming your way this Saturday here on ABC. And it will be UCLA and number 7 Michigan in our featured regional. North Carolina and Florida State, number 2 now. Penn State 3rd against Wisconsin. And 12th ranked Colorado against Texas A&M. The early regional lineup right here on ABC.
We're waiting.
For Michigan?
No. We're waiting for you to start cackling.
Oh, you mean, did Arizona State play this weekend?
I heard they did.
How'd they do?
I heard they beat Nebraska.
Oh, did you?
Is that true?
Really?
Al, of course, an Arizona State alum, has been busting his buttons all weekend.
You mean our booth didn't do badly this weekend?
Yeah. Hantak throwing the flag.
We saw Darrell Gardner, number 92, rock off of his stance to get in the neutral zone. Now we'll find out whether he was yanked or not.
Gardner, the first-round pick, playing with a sore ankle.
Offense.
He
prior
was.
to the snap. Number 85. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Still 1st down.
I think they called Ken Dilger, the tight end. And this is a guy quickly approaching the best tight end in the National Football League status.
He is a brute, too.
Yes,
6'5",
sir.
260 pounds.
Only his 2nd year.
On 1st down and 11, it's Lamont Warren, who went to high school with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the two of them playing at Dorsey High School in Los Angeles, along with a wide receiver by the name of Keyshawn Johnson. Right, yeah, the current Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There he is. Marino, we're being told now, is doubtful for the rest of the half, and they'll reevaluate him at halftime.
And I don't think that that's the least bit surprising after looking at Dan trying to put weight on that foot.
It is now 2nd down and 8 with a minute to go in the quarter. And the out pattern is caught. Sean Dawkins makes the catch and picks up the 1st down with that extra effort up to the 14-yard line.
Extra effort, Allen, extra size. He's big, 6'4", 210, 215 pounds, and he just bowled his way to a 1st down. Working against the 5'8" Calvin Jackson. Now watch this. Jackson had a shot at him, just bounces off.
Well, Jackson's got to attempt to tackle him. Watch Jackson. He's just going to take a shot at him up around the neck. That will not do it against Sean Dawkins. And I doubt we'll see Calvin Jackson try that the rest of the game.
From the 14-yard line, a draw. And it's Crockett who gets upended by Thomas up at the 22-yard line. Good penetration that time, and the handoff made as the charge was made into the backfield by Empman, and they just did get the play away.
Boy, but there is one of the reasons that Jimmy Johnson loves Zach Thomas. That there is a quality open field tackle. He did not need anybody's help. He's back in pass coverage. He drops back when he sees the quarterback drop, but when he's left with a one-on-one, boy, that's as good an open field tackle as you'll get.
2nd and 1. And Cliff Gross on his first carry of the night picks up the first down as the quarter ends. They work on Marino. Miami leads 3-0 after 1. And Monday Night Football returns after this message in a
finger showing the pain is running up the side and up high. That's good news because that's not anywhere near the Achilles tendon.
Now as we start the second quarter, it's Harbaugh hitting Dawkins. Good move, and he picks up about 9.5. Shane Burton making the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and inches.
So look at Lindy and Fanny's offense. It's very high percentage stuff, and nobody reads it better than Harbaugh. Looking 1, 2, 3, and then firing.
Total yards in favor of the Miami Dolphins. Only 8 yards rushing for the Dolphins, though, which is very uncharacteristic. Although in these first 3 wins of theirs this season, they have been a much more productive running team in the second half of the game than the first. But 8 yards in a quarter is a little less, I think, than they'd like to have.
2nd and inches up at the 35-yard line, and they stay on the ground and give it to Lamont Warren. And he's up to the 40-yard line for a Colts first down. Tackled there by Oliver and Gardner. A look at Marino's foot. Now, Kosar is the number 2 quarterback. Erickson, as I mentioned before, the former Colt, is the number 3 quarterback. But remember, as the number 3 quarterback, unless you're on the 45-man roster, and he's not, if he comes into the game in the first, second, or third quarters, that means that Marino and Kosar cannot play. He can only play in the fourth quarter, and then you can make another move to one of the other guys. But he'll just have to cool his heels as Bernie Kosar takes over until Marino's ready, if. And Harbaugh throws and hits Dawkins for another first down at the Miami 46-yard line. That's a rule that they changed a couple of years ago.
And Dawkins with a good move against Calvin Jackson.
Well, yeah, I think he took Calvin Jackson right out of his shoe.
Jackson looking for something deep. Plant that right foot, break it to the outside, and Harbaugh, who's not one of the great passers in the world, was right there. This is about as tough a pass as you want to throw.
And Calvin Jackson, he did throw a tread right there. He lost his left shoe. There's his left shoe, Calvin Jackson. Dawkins will get a good yuck when he watches that on the film. They like to torment defensive backs when they can.
First down at the Dolphin 46-yard line. Lamont Warren behind Crockett. And Crockett can't lay down the block. Gene Atkins fights it off and makes the tackle at the 44-yard line.
Pitch plays either to the left or the right traditionally have not had a lot of success against Jimmy Johnson defenses. Jimmy's such a great team speed believer, and that's a relatively slow developing play, and even the defensive linemen have time to get off blocks and get out into that type of coverage and pursuit.
And of course they're playing their safeties now Jimmy Johnson style, strong on the run support. Oliver and Atkins both tough against the run.
12:25 to the half. Miami leading 3-0. 2nd down and 8 from the 44-yard line. Blitz. They send 6, and the pass has gotten off into the arms of Lamont Warren, who stays in bounds long enough to pick up the first down at the 34-yard line. Run out by Oliver.
This time Warren lined up, split out to the right, lined up against the safety. Now, Louis Oliver is a big man. He is good on the run support. He is good in the deep zone. He's not good on man-for-man coverage.
He almost looked surprised, didn't he, Frank, when he confronted Warren out in the flat?
Well, this is what the Dolphins actually did this to the Jets a week ago also. Except they set back out, get that safety man who's not used to the individual coverage, and they'll beat him.
Louis Oliver, one of the biggest hitters in the league, a little tentative there.
10th play of this drive from the 34-yard line. Takes the inside handoff to Workman and going deep into the end zone, and a nice play made at the very end as it floated, and Louis Oliver bats it away from the intended receiver, Dilger.
Oliver got there that time. Dilger, Dan talked about him a moment ago, turning into one of the fine tight ends. He's big. Harbaugh would have liked to have had about another foot on that, but Oliver with pretty good position.
Yeah, Dilger with good speed, but he's not going to run away from Louis Oliver. Oliver just textbook coverage on that play. That's exactly the way you want your strong safety to run with the tight end.
2nd and 10 now. This drive began at the Colts 3 after that great John Kidd punt. Now from the Miami 35 on 2nd and 10. He's going deep again. He's going for the rookie Harrison. There's contact, but no flag. Terrell Buckley back there with him. One-on-one. Buckley and Harrison, and clearly there was contact, but no yellow.
I think they're looking for Buckley to maybe take a gamble on an out move by Harrison. Harrison didn't give him a very strong one. Buckley will do that. He will gamble. Harrison with a little lean to the outside, but there's a lot of contact. I'll tell you, that could have drawn a flag.
Well, I don't know how it didn't draw a flag before that.
You can't make that contact beyond 5 yards.
No, there was major contact. We saw just the tail of it, but Buckley was locked up in there. That's very fortunate.
3rd and 10, trips right. Harbaugh from the gun and has to take a timeout disgustedly. That's the 2nd Indianapolis timeout. 11:35 left in the first half. It's still Miami 3, Indianapolis. And the Indianapolis Colts and Miami Dolphins, 2 unbeaten teams. It's 3-0 Miami as Indy has it 3rd and 10 at the Miami 34.
This is kind of a classical Colt drive. It started at their 5-yard line. Nothing spectacular. It was a 4-yard line, make it the 3-yard line.
They're in a range here that if they don't convert here, it would be about a 51-yarder for Blanchard, well within his range.
And nothing dramatic, just moving the ball, moving the chains.
He kicked a 51-yarder last week against Dallas. 3rd down and 10, and the catch is made underneath, and they won't have to think about the field goal right now, but there's a flag down. Stabline makes the catch. Harbaugh went down. Johnson wants a hold. Hancock says it's against Miami for a personal foul.
It could have been against Entman, a former Indianapolis Colt, a former #1 draft pick, former first pick in the draft.
Well, Entman was standing there.
Roughing the passer defense, number 96.
Gonna go against Stubbs, I guess.
Entman was actually giving the signal that it was holding against the Colts.
He was wishful thinking.
That's Stubbs coming in from behind. Oh, and Stubbs falls into the back of the back of Jim Harbaugh's legs. And his crowd reacting to that, thinking that this was an attempt to injure him. In his defense, Stubbs' head was down so low, I don't think that he could see that Harbaugh threw the ball. He came in very low, but when his head is down at that angle, I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did not see Harbaugh throw the football.
He was locked up with Troy Ozine, and he had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
No, I don't think so either.
Big penalty. They go from 3rd and 10 and barely in field goal range. The 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Tight formation. 3 receivers to the left. He goes that way to Warren. He makes the catch at the 9. Tackled by Atkins, and Harbaugh gets knocked down again.
Terrell Buckley came on the outside corner blitz and unloaded on Harbaugh. But Harbaugh, he's one tough cookie. He saw the blitz. He knew that he had the man to go to. Knew he was going to get hit. Doesn't seem to bother him.
Well, I think when you're Jim Harbaugh, if you want to get hit by anybody on the blitz, you take a corner that weighs 5'9" and 175 pounds. That's not Dick Butkus running you over right there.
Watch 27. Almost getting back there was Jason Matthews, but not quite.
Buckley did all he could do, but I think Jim Harbaugh survived those.
2nd and 7 now. 10:22 to go in the half. Miami leading 3-0. Harbaugh throws. Catch made by the rookie Harrison, who takes it to the 1-yard line, and that's enough for a first down. 1st and goal from the 1.
Boy, that's such a good look at Lindy and Fatty's offense. His scheme of things, you have to be able to read it well. Harbaugh does it beautifully. 3 receivers on the right side. One of them came across the middle. Harrison started across, set up, and he was wide open. That ball almost deflected.
Entman looked like he almost scraped a little finger along that football. He might have touched it. Hard to tell.
1st and goal inside the 1-yard line. 15th play of a long drive, and Warren cannot get in.
He didn't get close. Solid play by Miami.
Tough to hesitate along that line of scrimmage. It's going to collapse so quickly.
Infante looking on as his team tries to wrap up what would be a 97-yard touchdown drive and would be the longest drive in the NFL this season.
2 tight ends in the ball game. The 2nd tight end for the Colts is Marcus Pollard, who had the big play against Dallas last week, that 48-yard screen pass for a touchdown.
Harbaugh good in a rollout down here.
Three tight end set. Second and goal. Fake to the fullback. Walked into the end zone. Wide open is Dilger. Touchdown.
I'd say Miami overcommitted to the run.
Second down, Miami not thinking pass. Play action, not even a good play action. They bought it all the way.
I'm guessing Louis Oliver had Dilger.
Run.
I think he had Dilger, and Dilger went past him. There's Oliver, 25. You can see he takes that one step and stops and goes, oh no, tries to jump, but a little late.
And Dilger is 6'5", easy for him.
Carrie Blanchard, who had 2 kidney stones surgically removed this week. It hurts to just say it.
Yes.
Kicks the extra point. 8:51 to go in the first half, and Indy has the lead. Colts by 4. Down, and the kickoff here off the foot of Gardocki is taken a yard into the end zone by Irving Spikes behind a phalanx of blockers, and he takes it up to the 34-yard line. So Kosar comes back in. Marino's still on the shelf with 8:40 to go in the half. Some Renaissance artiste right there. The #1 pick overall by Indianapolis in the '92 draft. Injury-riddled career here, and now winds up with the Dolphins.
A Renaissance artiste?
Well, sort of.
I thought WWF was more like that.
I'm thinking of the Cafe Days artiste. What can I tell you? From the 34-yard line, it's Kosar going back and hitting Spikes. Nice move by Irving. And still on his feet. He can break tackles with the best of them, and he picks up about 7. Tackled there by Belzer. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you. Second down 3 from the 41-yard line. 8 minutes to go in the half. Colts leading by 4. Spikes. And Indy that time lining up with the 7-man front. And he had no chance. Elijah Alexander making the tackle.
Frank, as you learned, I'm sure, very early in your career, sometimes you just have to put your head down and go. Bouncing outside in the NFL doesn't work very often.
He tries so many times, and he will make you miss a lot of tackles, but everyone's staying right in position on the part of this Colt defense. He had nowhere to go, and you're right. He could have saved a couple of yards by putting the head down and just pulling as much as he could.
Third down and 6 now. Kosar in relief of Marino. Play clock down to 1. And Bernie, it's not a thing of beauty, but he sure knew how far he had to go to get the first down, and he gets there up to the 45-yard line.
Remember, though, with a quarterback, when he hook slides like that, when he first goes down, that's where they spot the ball. He could slide another 4 or 5 yards untouched, but you don't get credit for the slide. When you first sit on the turf, that's where they spot the ball. So watch where Bernie hits it first. See, that's it.
He got the first, but I think Jimmy Johnson with Dan Marino on the bench would just assume Bernie Kosar would forget that.
It's a very good mark. Even though he slid across all the way up to the 46 untouched, good spot at the 44.
First and 10. Irving Spikes still in the game. We've seen Abdul-Jabbar to this point. Now Irving for a change of pace. He goes out into the pattern and makes the catch. And Irving Spikes gets tackled up at the 47 by Sammy Burrows after a pickup of 4. The Dolphins this season, we've been talking about how they've rushed, and take a look at that. Through the years, as you can see, either in yards per game or yards per rush, they've been terrible. Outside of 94 when they were okay, and coming in tonight all of a sudden, Jimmy Johnson, like every coach, saying, I want to establish a running game, but he's meant it.
Well, those yardage were made in the first 3 games against New England, Arizona, and the Jets.
But tonight, a different story. He can't get it going.
1.4 per will not get it done.
League average, perennially 4.0 or thereabouts. Second down and 7, and at 1.4 will go down even more.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, the Colts, one thing they do defensively, They stay in their zone, and they are good tacklers. We've seen some awful tackling this year in the National Football League, but not by the Indianapolis Colts.
It's Sammy Burroughs making that tackle right there, the guy who's been replacing Coriat. Remember, Coriat and Alexander, or Stephen Grant, actually, were shaken up earlier, the linebackers.
Let's look at Burroughs. He's very quick. He was a safety at Portland State. Picked up a little weight. They needed him at linebacker, and that's where they moved him. He's got a great attitude, and he is all over the football field. He was a free agent.
This is no fluke. The Colts come into this game giving up only 88 yards a game rushing.
3rd and 11. Kosar with a corner blitz, gets it away. Under pressure, there's a flag down back at the 34-yard line. Kosar also got hammered by Sammy Burroughs, but that didn't draw a flag. 3rd down and 6 now at the 48. Indy leading 7-3. Kosar throws and finds the open man amongst a trio of secondary people. Was Charles Jordan, who makes his first catch of the night. Bernie got hit again as he threw, but he had a lot of time in the pocket and finds the open receiver.
Bernie not having been the principal quarterback, not getting the work, and that was perfect timing between he and Jordan, even though he knew he was going to get hit. They gave him a lot of time because that play took a lot of time to develop.
Bernie got whacked.
Oh, he did. He knew it. He was going to get it, too.
It's just, he comes down kind of awkwardly. Kind of rolled up in a ball. He's a big, sturdy guy, though. Bernie can take upon him.
1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Under 4 minutes left in the half, and Irving spikes, bounces into his own man, and then bounces off and turns no gain into a pickup of about 8 before he's thrust back by Buchanan.
This is what Jimmy Johnson loves about Irving Spikes. He is so hard to get down. He's got a very low center of gravity, bounces off tacklers. He'll turn a nothing play into a big gainer. And he's got, what, over a 5-yard average per carry thus far this season.
Well, that was good work by Richmond Webb. Keith Sims over there on the left side. They really pinned the Colts in there. Burroughs got caught to the inside. Nice job of Spike sensing that soft spot off to his left. There's the great all-pro Richmond Webb, number 78.
2nd and 2 from the 29. And Bernie over the middle to the tight end, Brett Carolyn, who caught the first touchdown pass of his career last week from Dan Marino. 1st down at the 15.
Those are on a roll. Good quick read of Caroline. Talked about the Miami Dolphins not having, certainly not a Pro Bowl quality tight end. But Caroline, who had a couple of years with the 49ers, is doing the job for them along with Keith Byers. They're splitting the duties.
1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. Irving spikes. Minimal gain. 2.5 to play in the half.
Other than where the ball ends up, is there anything that you would tell a young quarterback that he should do that Bernie Kosar does? other than where the ball finds its way to a receiver, he might be the most technically unsound quarterback in the NFL.
Tell him early to take up tennis.
Well, one of the great competitors in this game, and if you joined us late, Dan Marino with a twisted right ankle will be evaluated at halftime.
2nd and 8, and they don't get the play off. There's no play. The 2-minute warning. The clock ticked down to 2:00 before the snap. 2-minute warning. 2nd and 8 when we come at 8 at the Colts 14-yard line. Indy shows blitz. Here they come. Bernie reads it, and the pass is incomplete. He tried to hit Thomas, but Lamar Thomas covered by Daniel.
Oh, Daniel, what a play by Daniel, and what a great pickup of the blitz by the Dolphins.
I think it was Irving Spikes was the back who stepped up in there and gave Bernie the time to get rid of it.
Boy, this was classic stuff. There's the intended receiver. Lamar Thomas, contact right as the ball reached there. Had perfect timing. We talked about it earlier. It's very difficult on that little look in, the little slant in, to time it out perfectly.
3rd down and 8. The dome is rocking left of your screen. Full house, close to 60,000 looking on. 11th play of the drive here. Out of the gun. Here they come again on the blitz. And Kosar slings it into the arms of Scott Miller, who makes his first catch of the night at the 10. But it's 4th down. He's tackled there by Diedrich Mathis, and Nedney will come in to try to kick the field goal to make it 7-6.
Mathis up there tight on the intended receiver. He knew he had the help from the blitz. He knew the Kosar would have to deliver quickly, and he was right up there for the coverage.
The two things you need when you're going to blitz: tight coverage good open field tackling. The first guy has to make the tackle.
And that's the worst sight of all if you're a Dolphin fan. Dan Marino in a cart with a minute 4
week when he had a lot of problems.
He's thankful for that. This is a 29-yard attempt for the man who has supplanted Pete Stoyanovich, who's now with the Chiefs. John Kidd to hold, and Nedney boots it through. So Jimmy Johnson applauds that as his here, and they have saluted their coach tonight just behind the skin part of the infield. What a sight. It looks like almost a surreal shot. It looks like a painting.
Downtown Indianapolis was alive this afternoon from noon on. There were a lot of Miami Dolphin fans here. But it was jumping.
Joe Nedney to kick off. And Aaron Bailey back to receive it, standing at the goal line. Nedney with that big leg, and that's why he won the job, because of things like that. Kicking touchbacks and forcing the opposition to start at the 20-yard line. A minute 37 to go in the half. Let's check in with Chris Berman in New York.
All right, Al, thank you. And coming up on our Lexus halftime report, we look forward to your chat with Dan Marino and our weekly tour around the league. Yes, I know there are now 5 undefeated teams still in the NFL, but lurking in the weeds are 6 3-1s, like the San Diego Chargers. Stan Humphries hit Tony Martin not once, not twice, but 3 times. The Lightning Bolts put the Raiders back into their misery, 40-34. And next week, Al, San Diego hosts Kansas City in a big game.
And the following week, Chris, it'll be Kansas City against Pittsburgh on a Monday night. So the Chiefs are hot, and right now the Colts trying to stay hot, trying to stay unbeaten from the 20-yard line as Harbaugh gets taken down at the 11. Daniel Stubbs makes the tackle. Again, the Colts do not have a timeout.
Stubbs has now had a sack in each of the first 4 games for the Dolphins.
And now on second down and 8, it really changes the composition of what you were going to do. It's almost as if you want to run the clock out now on second and 18.
See just right, too.
Now it could have been in Miami's favor to stop the clock and try to get possession in good field position.
And Miami has 2 timeouts remaining.
They'll almost certainly use one if this is not a very good play by the Colts.
Second down and 18, and it is Lamont Warren who escapes the grasp of the defense in the backfield, takes it up to the 18-yard line, and now the Dolphins do take the timeout. It'll be third down and 11 coming up.
And now it's an interesting call now for Lindy Infante and the Colts. Do they put the ball in the air, running the risk of an incompletion to stop the clock? Which means they'll then have to turn over the football, and the Dolphins will get it with still 1 timeout remaining and relatively good field position.
Well, if you want a quarterback that's really going to be safe with it would be Jim Harbaugh. He does not throw a lot of interceptions. He'll eat the football, he'll throw it away.
Well, Lindy Infante, the offensive coordinator last year, so it's been a pretty seamless transition for the offense. Anyway, Lindy was out of coaching for 3 years. He said he had a bad taste in his mouth after he was fired by Green Bay, went back to Florida. He was a frustrated architect and spent 2 years building his own house and taking his golf handicap from a 15 to an 8.
Well, that gives you hope, Al.
not much.
Not architecture, but your golf game certainly could use the work.
Well, what Al did the same. Al did basically the same thing, going from a 34 to a 25.
That's right.
All in the degree of
certainly.
Third down and 11 from the 19. 49 seconds. Harbaugh, that's the inside give to Warren, and he's tackled up at the 24. Now Miami will take another timeout, their final one, and conserve some time, and they'll get the ball back right now with 42 seconds remaining.
Colts would have been better off letting the clock run when Miami had it before they kicked the field goal. Looking at the way it's turned out now.
Next week, very important game in the NFC East. Philadelphia sharing first place with Washington at 3-1, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who come in after that defeat yesterday at Buffalo. The Cowboys are reeling. They are 1-3. Aikman and Sanders and company. Emmitt Smith next week from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Cowboys and Eagles on Monday Night Football.
Who would have thought the Cowboys, the fourth game, would be playing really a desperation game?
How do you spell urgency?
With a capital U. O.J. McDuffie back to receive the kick. Chris Gardocki sends it skyward, and it will be fair caught by O.J. McDuffie at the 23, but there's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. And they dump him at the 25-yard line. Trace Armstrong was in there, and that's big news in Miami these days.
Yeah, not a lot happening from that defensive end position. Trace off to a slow start. And that's getting in on any action is a big plus.
The first sack by defensive end for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
A few hurries.
Armstrong was pitching a no-hitter coming into the game. No tackles, no assists, no sacks.
Stubbs, of course, has had one in each of the past 4 games.
2nd and 14, and Harbaugh throws. Stabline makes the catch, but he's going to stay in bounds, and that'll do it for the first half. So the half is over. Marino will check on him, of course. We'll also have an interview with Dan at the half, but he's been out of the game since midway through the first quarter. Harbaugh led him on a 97-yard drive for the game's only touchdown, and at the half, it's 7-6 Indianapolis. Back we come after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations. Here as Miami will receive the kick, Chris Gardocki to kick off. And Gardocki's kick taken at the goal line. This is Jarris McPhail, the rookie, out past the 20. And a good way for Miami to start the second half as we get an update from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Well, Al, Dan Marino sprained his right ankle. They said he will not come back in for the second half, and they will reevaluate it during the bye week. I asked Jimmy Johnson, does that change what he can do offensively in the second half? He said, no, with Bernie Kosar, we can run our same complete package. I asked Lindy Infante about that. Will he try and bring more pressure on Bernie Kosar? He says, no, they won't change anything because they don't have Coriat and Grant. Their 2 outside backers are injured, so they're very limited in what they can do defensively. They're just going to try and hold on and stay in this ballgame. Al?
All right, Lynn, thank you. Both teams hurting. The Dolphins had only 17 yards rushing in the first half, and they begin now from the 36-yard line. Kosar with great protection, but the secondary does a wonderful job, and finally he has to eat it at the 31-yard line. Tony McCoy will get the sack, but that is a coverage sack if ever you've seen one.
The ultimate coverage sack.
Oh, he had 5-6 seconds before he finally had to tuck it away and take the sack. Terrific coverage. Looking up at the screen here in the dome, seeing what happened.
Lynn talked about the fact that Coriat and Grant are out of this ball game. That's taken 2 role players in Sammy Burroughs and Elijah Alexander and put them both at the very key spots at outside linebacker. Miami has to attempt to take advantage of that.
They lost a lot of bulk out there, too, with those 2.
2nd and 15, and Abdul-Jabbar picks up about 5. Jason Belzer says, here's my welcome for you to the NFL.
Some welcome it was, too, Al. That's the way you want a safety to come up in run support. That's exactly the way you want him to come up.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar changed his name at UCLA. The early part of his career, he was Sharman Shaw. Then he changed his name. Went in to tell Terry Donahue, the coach, that he was changing his name, and Donahue almost had a heart attack. 3rd down and 10 from the 36-yard line. And this is Abdul-Jabbar up to the 48-yard line, tackled there by Sammy Burroughs.
And a lot of presence on the part of Bernie Kosar. They had the blitz on. He did not have enough men to pick it up, but he quickly realized he had to get rid of it quickly, and he got it to Abdul-Jabbar.
And I think that's right in that area where the Dolphins should work to take advantage of those missing starting linebackers, just that 5-6 yard area downfield in the soft spot of the coverage. That's Burroughs, 53, that had to come all the way across and late make the hit.
First down up at the 48-yard line. And this is O.J. McDuffie breaking tackles and then paying the price as he moves to the 39 and stopped there by Burroughs.
McDuffie's such a good runner after he gets his hands on the football. That's why they like to go with that little slant. We've seen them go to McDuffie several times tonight. They just want to get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. He is again a tough guy, too.
Burrow's up towards the line of scrimmage, kind of caught there in no man's land. He's got to come back, staggers back, gets in, and makes a hit way downfield. But again, a rookie from Portland State, a free agent, has to be limited in what he can do for you, having to play every down.
From the 39, that's incomplete. Contact there, but not influencing the play. Lamar Thomas and Eugene Daniel.
Those are way off with that pass. Brain trust. Gary Stevens, the offensive coordinator there.
And assistant Kippy Brown
talking to Bernie and calling the play. In on all of it, Jimmy Johnson.
On 2nd and 10. Lamar Thomas forced out by Eugene Daniel, a little bit short of the first down. It's apparently, let's see where they're going to spot it. Give him a pretty good little spot there, but it still appears to be short.
Good shot by Kozar. Whip-like delivery of his. He can put something on it.
That's so close, they're going to have to measure.
Yep. Watch this. Thomas with a good break against Eugene Daniel, and Kozar with a real rifle shot. And he got a pretty good mark.
That's a splendid mark. That mark appears to be about a good 2 feet better than what he deserved. At least a foot better.
Interesting how they measured it in midfield instead of over the sideline.
Ooh. Not that close. There's Fred Barnett. We had a shot of him before, the ex-Eagle. And remember, with only O.J. McDuffie as a veteran wideout and a guy to be relied on, the Dolphins eagerly anticipating Barnett's re-entrance. And that will probably come in late October. Quarterback comparison, pretty similar. Third and inches from the 29. Abdul-Jabbar swinging to the outside and nice his way for a first down, but a flag comes in at the end. Keith Byers now playing tight end exclusively through the block. And let's see about the flag. Against Miami, back it comes.
Oh, that hurts. Abdul-Jabbar with a great effort to get that first down.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Third down.
That's Richmond Webb, the multi-time All-Pro left tackle. And he's certainly not happy about that call. There's a guy that normally plays this game pretty tight. There he is, number 78. Let's watch him. Oh, yeah, you can see he had the right arm. He had lost the outside position. Got that right arm. Yep, got that right arm up there and ended up bringing him to the ground.
Third down, 11 now. Indy leading by a point early in the third quarter. Kosar throws well short of the first. McDuffie makes the catch. Buchanan with the tackle at the 36-yard line. So they're pretty close to being out of field goal range here. It's a 53-yard attempt, but here comes Nedney, at least for the moment.
Well, we've seen how far he can hit it on kickoffs. We know he's got a big foot.
To this point in time, guys, this has been a very impressive performance by the secondary of the Colts.
This will be a 53-yard attempt. John Kidd, the punter, to hold it.
And the Colts should be aware of skullduggery from the Dolphins.
But Nedney's going to bang it, and it's going to be short.
By rule, the ball is returned to the spot of the attempt.
And again, the ball comes back to the spot of the attempt, giving Indianapolis fairly decent position to commence its drive with 10. And the Dolphins now 1st and 10 from midfield. 10-12 left third quarter. Indianapolis leading by a point. Kosar. Miami Dolphins had 9 different guys catch passes tonight. They won't have a 10th here as Tony McCoy gets the sack.
Oh, boy, and Bernie took quite a shot on the ribs. Tony McCoy taking him right to the carpet.
But what a veteran play by Bernie Kosar, because he could have dumped that football, but his only choice at this time was to throw it in the middle of the field with his body posture, and he alertly holds on to the ball. A sack much, much better than running the risk of turning it over in the middle of the field. A younger quarterback might have let that thing go just to try to avoid that sack.
That's McCoy's second sack as you look at Erickson, the number 3 quarterback. It's only the second 2-sack game of McCoy's career. The other came against Miami in '94 as Pritchett, the fullback, makes the catch and takes it to the 49-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Gossamer Bay Vineyards, an emerging new style of wine. Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Sun America, the retirement savings specialist. Where is that Gossamer Bay anyway?
I don't know, but might require some research.
Yes. 3rd down and 9 at the 49-yard line. Report back next week. You bet. Look out. Kosar escapes the sack, the initial one anyway, and then dumps it to Abdul-Jabbar with some great running, takes it to the 39. He made a lot of runs like that at UCLA and pulls one off here, and it's a big one for a first down.
Oh, give the assist, though, to Bernie Kosar, who somehow or other got away from a sure sack and was able to get the ball to Abdul-Jabbar. A lot of presence for the part of Bernie Kosar.
Well, this one figured to be close. I thought we'd have a little bit more scoring than we've seen so far tonight, but a real tight game as one team tries to remain undefeated.
And what looked like after that first sack, and Bernie gave up the sack, but wisely held onto the football, you see how that paid off. You see how that paid off, not risking an interception. They end up converting the first down anyway. And I thought Jimmy gambled a little bit with a long field goal. It's paid off for Miami with the turnover.
And they just do get the play off, and Abdul-Jabbar picks up a yard.
I'm not sure they did get it off.
There was a flag down now in the secondary. To the delay of game, Kosar. Well, I guess that's the quintessential Kosar pass. Wobbly, fluttering, and coming up limping is Sammy Burroughs on the coverage.
They can ill afford to lose another linebacker. Sammy Burroughs, however, looks like he's going to be all right.
And he's replacing Quentin Coryatt. So the Colts, as you all know from last week and this week as well, totally banged up. Ellis Johnson, the defensive end, has had a couple of concussions and has not been cleared to play yet this season.
Colts do go into a bye week, so they will be able to get some of their walking wounded back on the field probably when they meet Buffalo.
He must have to take a number just to get into the Colts training room.
2nd down and 15. And intended for Jarris McPhail, and that's incomplete. In fact, as Lindy and Bonnie told us last night, 28 Colts spent time in the training room.
That's the equivalent of going in and trying to get your driver's license renewed. Take a number, we'll be back to you. There's the other starting defensive end, Tony Bennett. He sprained his left knee in their second game of the year against the Jets. Again, one of those guys that they hope to have back after the bye week.
Lindy and Fonte checking his chart here, thinking ahead to when they get the ball back. Lindy totally concerned with the offense and lets Jim Johnson run the defense. 3rd and long, Bernie under pressure, and down he goes at the 47-yard line.
Well, Jim Johnson
by Indianapolis.
Jim Johnson is playing this very smart, the defensive coordinator of the Colts. You have to make Bernie Kosar move. You cannot allow Bernie to stand and get a stationary look at the field. He's too smart and is too gifted in delivering the football. Bernie on the move, though, is relatively ineffective.
That time they came with Ray Buchanan off the corner. Bernie had to slide to his left, got in trouble there. Down he went.
John Kidd to punt. He dropped one inside the 5-yard line earlier, and Marvin Harrison back to receive it. Harrison calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 10. That's where the Colts will start.
Interesting exchange here. That's Gary Stevens, offensive coordinator, talking to Bernie Kosar, and you could read lips. It'd be kind of interesting as to that exchange. They have been forcing him out of the pocket, but Dan, you're exactly right.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to do with Bernie Kosar. Make him move around.
Bernie might be saying, Gary, if you think it's so easy, you come down and give it a whack.
First down, Indianapolis from its own 10. 7-6 Colts midway through the third quarter. Harbaugh and out to Dawkins. Taken down immediately by Calvin Jackson. Again, if you joined us late, Dan Marino, an ankle sprain, had it taped and retaped and then couldn't come back. Dan has been out since midway through the first quarter, will not come back. They have a bye week next week, and you can only hope he'll be back in 13 days.
Sean Dawkins working against Calvin Jackson, who replaced J.B. Brown over in that right corner for the Dolphins.
Jackson still going for the high tackle up there on the neck. He missed one of those early in the ball game. He's still working up high against Dawkins.
Second and a deuce. Lamont Warren swings to the outside and picks up the first down with a nifty bit of leg work up to the 27-yard line behind a Zach Crockett block.
Colts having to go with their playoff backfield from a year ago, and when Marshall Faulk went down, Roosevelt Potts went down, it was Zach Crockett and Lamont Warren who took them within one tipped pass of going to the Super Bowl. That, of course, against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Marshall Faulk, a great running back, sprained toe, severe enough that he missed the Dallas game, misses tonight. They hope to have him back after the bye week. Colts off next Sunday. Harbaugh deep drop, set up the screen to Crockett with good blocking out in front. Crockett takes it up to the 33-yard line. Dwight Hollier knifes through to make the tackle. Well, that AFC Championship game, and the Colts came this close to going to the Super Bowl. If Aaron Bailey can just hold on in the end zone.
Looks so easy in slow motion, doesn't it? The ball right there. The official right there.
And for the second year in a row, Bill Cowher had a Super Bowl trip dependent on the last play. San Diego knocked them out the year before, but this time he goes as the Steelers win the game. Second and 4. Wraparound draw to Crockett, who comes close to picking up the first down. Dwight Hollier making the tackle and stopping him what appears to be inches short.
Crockett really came on, though, during those playoffs. He had about 150 yards against San Diego in the first playoff game, and filling in for the injured Roosevelt Potts.
And that was after he had 0 yards rushing for the regular season. He had 1 carry last year, no yards. And then went wild with Faulk on the bench or hurt in San Diego. Going to measure here with 5 minutes to play. And tonight, the Dolphin running game has been totally shut down. And the Colts are averaging a very stellar 4.6.
But still not a lot of yardage.
Back to the old Bear-Washington Redskin game championship as many moons ago to come up with something to beat that.
Right, when the Bears beat them 73-0.
There's a biggie here.
Third and a short one from the 36-yard line, and they give it to Workman. And Vince Workman, the 8th-year back out of Ohio State, journeyman back, picks up the first down.
What he's saying, if I had not have been diving for that first down, I might have got a touch out of it.
We used to call
that a yardage.
We used to call that the trap door. Somebody opened up that trap door and tripped him when he went through there. I don't think he was touched, was he?
No, he was making sure he had enough weight into it, and he was too far forward on it, and he could have picked up a lot of yardage. But he got the first. The primary importance. He was looking to get hit. He doesn't get hit.
He got tackled by Mr. Air right there.
First down at the 41. 4:10 left, third quarter. Indy leads by 1. Harbaugh scrambles, throws, finds Workman. And Workman getting a lot of work in the last 2 plays up to the 49-yard line. It's an 8-yard pickup. Tackled by Larry Izzo.
Workman's legs are failing him, Frank.
He said in the first quarter, though, Harbaugh is so dangerous when he gets out of the pocket. That's when he turns into a superb athlete with a great sense of where he is.
Workman falls down here without being tackled. I think he might have to look at what kind of tires he's got on those wheels. I'd tie those babies up real tight, Vince.
Hey, well, they work on the helmet of Zach Thomas, so the middle linebacker is out of the lineup for the moment, and that's why Izzo is in the game. Another rookie replacing rookie. And this is Lamont Warren for a first down before Gene Atkins tackles him at the 43-yard line.
Boy, and Izzo got nailed as he stepped in to try to make the tackle from the middle linebacker position.
Oh, great blocking on the left side of the Colts line. Boy, that's solid work. Weidel at left guard, Ozine at left tackle. Boy, they just dominated the line of scrimmage on that play.
Ozine playing, well, they were wondering if he could go tonight. 2 sore knees, and they were concerned about how they would have to juggle their offensive line if he couldn't go. Of course, Bill Tobin, who was the director of football here at Indianapolis, drafted him when Bill was with the Chicago Bears.
Zach Thomas back in the game. First down at the Dolphin 43-yard line. Draw. Crockett. That's Cliff Gross, excuse me. Gross is 5'11", 245. And you look at a guy who's built like that, and you think of an old Colt named Don Nottingham, the original human bowling ball.
All right, he's much taller than Nottingham. Gross is listed at 5'11". Don Nottingham was more in that 5'9" range.
I see Urban Spikes, and I think of him, too.
Do you?
Don Nottingham, oh, he was fun to watch.
Yeah, well, here comes Dan Marino in civvies. And Lynn Swan's going to get an update for us in a moment.
Don Nottingham always struck me as one of those guys that if he was 2 inches shorter, he'd have been perfectly round.
It's an end around to the rookie Harrison with Harbaugh looking to block. Good move by Harrison. He picks up the first down, and that's why he was the #1 draft choice.
Hello.
Well, Harrison, an excellent punt returner at Syracuse, as well as a great receiver. You saw some stylish moves right there.
Well, the unfortunate guy who's faced up with Harrison out there actually is Daniel Stubbs. The Dolphins run one of their deals where they drop a defensive lineman back into coverage. Stubbs is going to be number 96. That's him coming across right there. And he cannot stop as quickly as Harrison can. And he sails right on by. Asking an awful lot of a defensive end to go one-on-one out in the open field with a wide receiver.
Gain of 15, a minute and a half to play in the third. Another draw. Crockett. Crockett is to the 1-yard line.
Oh, did he explode. Head coach Lindy Infante with some imaginative play calling.
And there is Bill Tobin, the architect.
Again, if we have seen one thing, and there's Jim Irsay, son of the owner of the franchise, Robert Irsay, but Jim, for all intents and purposes, runs this club. But what we're seeing here, guys, is the Colts offensive line has taken control of the game on this drive. Huge holes time after time. They're opening up for the Colt running game.
Much as they did against Dallas.
And rolling on first and goal from the 1. Harbaugh loses a yard and a half. Second and goal. Armstrong and Entman in on the tackle. Remember, the Colts touchdown drive earlier was 97 yards. This one began at their own 10. So 2 very long drives for Indy tonight.
Jim forgot the rules.
You said, Dan, so true. In the Dallas game of a week ago yesterday, the Colts really took command of that game in the third quarter. The offensive line in great shape, just blew them out.
You're right, Frank. There's a case where Harbaugh forgot the rules. When he's all the way out on the corner like that, he can just throw the ball away.
Harbaugh looking over at the bench. Harbaugh has to run a play. They really screwed that up. They had to run a play before the quarter was over, and originally they thought that they could run the clock out, but they couldn't. And they have to waste a timeout. Back-to-back in his career, tied with John Unitas, second most by any starting QB in NFL history, behind only Fran Tarkenton. The irony is he would win number 120 tonight if Kosar can lead them from behind, because Dan was the starting quarterback, but he's out. And right now they have other problems, do the Dolphins, because defensively they have to stop Indy. Second down goal from the 3. 9 seconds to play in the period. And Harbaugh flips one out to Dilger, and he gets tackled as Hollier saves a touchdown. And that will end the third quarter. But the fourth quarter will begin with a 3rd and goal for Indy. End of 3 in the Dome. Still Colts 7, Dolphins.
Watch him float out, and when he's out there, there's not another Miami Dolphin defender anywhere on that side of the field. If he doesn't make that tackle on Dilger, he walks right into the end zone. Now, if they're successful in keeping the Colts out of the end zone, that's a monster play by Dwight Hollier.
Yep. And it was Calvin Jackson who made that tackle on Crockett to stop him just short of the goal line. So 2 big plays, and that's a sight that can sicken any Dolphin fan. 3rd down and goal. 13th play of the drive. Harbaugh throws, and it's low, and it is caught, but outside the end zone by Marvin Harrison. So no gain, 4th down and goal.
How did he keep that ball off the field? How did...
I'll just keep track of this number. If you haven't seen him before, 88. Marvin Harrison, he should have a great career in this game. He is everything it takes to be an extraordinary receiver.
I mean, that's
really
a split.
Brilliant hands.
Well, that ball did look like it did touch the field, but that came down like a split finger fastball.
And the Colts are going to attempt the field goal here. Harbaugh trying to talk Infante into going for it. It's a chip shot from 18 yards. About as short as they get.
It takes them out of field goal range.
Well, they settled for 3 points because of a couple outstanding defensive plays by the Miami Dolphins.
Lynn Swann, 10-6. Indy on top. A look at downtown Indianapolis. Dome lower left. On a sparkling night. Lively crowd. Chris Gardocki to boot it. And he sends it down into the arms of the rookie Jarris McPhail from the 3-yard line. And McPhail with a good run back. Chugging and plugging and taking it up to the 38. Tackled there by Freddie Joe Nunn. 1 minute into the 4th quarter. Indianapolis at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10. A minute into the 4th period. Irving spikes, goes nowhere. Extended into the arms of Jeff Herrod and company.
And right now, Miami's inability to run the football is hurting them more and more every play. Indianapolis has really stuffed them at the line of scrimmage tonight.
When they're doing it with so many people on the bench with injuries too, Dan.
Take a look at this drop-off. 23 yards on the ground this evening. Less than a 2-yard per carry average for the Dolphins.
Second and 9. Kosar into the arms of Keith Byers, who had his 130-game consecutive pass-catching streak stopped last week. He was very upset about it after the game, but he starts a new one right here. 3rd down.
When it was a pass like that he dropped last week, they would have continued that streak. Been around a long time. Great years with Philadelphia, where he was also used in the backfield, and now totally committed by Jimmy Johnson to the tight end.
And will Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, will he come after Bernie?
3rd down and 4. The Dolphins have had 10 different men catch passes tonight. They run a stunt, they run a blitz, and they sack him.
You got to do it. You got to do it. It's not brain surgery.
Well, Dan Marino would have probably gone down just as quickly there. He had no protection at all. And this is a Colt team playing without their 2 defensive ends, the 2 outside linebackers, and kind of overwhelming the Miami offense.
Steve Morrison gets into the play here too, 52.
But he's their last remaining linebacker. But this is right now a case that Miami is paying a stiff price for not being able to run the football.
Kids kick. Good kick. 54 yards to the 9. This is the rookie Harrison, and he goes down at the 14-yard line. So the Colts pin deep. That hasn't phased them yet tonight. Earlier, a 97-yard touch. Goodyear blimp. What am I talking about? It's the Bud 1 airship.
C1, see them all.
Yeah, but it's the great Bud 1 airship. Oh, great time to get brain lock. It is the Bud 1 airship.
Welcome back to Minneapolis.
Okay. 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line as the Colts start the drive. 12:04 left in regulation. Harbaugh to Crockett. And he takes it up to the 21-yard line. And let's check in with Lynn Swann.
Now, while they intend to reevaluate Dan Marino when they get back to Miami, they did take the time in the third quarter to get an x-ray of his right ankle, and he came back with nothing broken in that ankle, so it still remains a sprain. But Dan, being a competitor, just couldn't stay in the locker room. He had to come out, stand on the sideline, keep his head in the ball game. As a matter of fact, when he injured the ankle, they brought the cart to take him off in the first half. He said, no, not until my offense is off the field. Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. The Dolphins are off next week, and then they next play against Seattle a week from Sunday. So he has that much time, does Dan, to recover. 2nd and 4. Rocket! First down up to the 35-yard line. Big hole. Lewis Oliver and Gene Atkins converge on the stop.
The Colts, on their last drive, totally dominated Miami, even though Miami stopped them from getting it into the end zone. They were dominated in the middle of the field, and the Colts are taking charge again, Dan.
Yes, they certainly have. And again, it's Ozine, Wydell, Loudermilk, Mullen, Matthews. These guys are getting it done up here now. Look at that. That's use the term gaping hole. You can big, wide, large. Take your pick.
From the 35-yard line, Crockett yawning. Huge. George Hill, the defensive coordinator, frustrated right now. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Jeep, makers of the new award-winning Jeep Grand Cherokee. Loose End Technologies. We make things that make communications work. First Brands Corporation, makers of STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner. And Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. Second down and 3, back inside the dome, outside the Bud 1 airship floating high above. 2nd and 3 from the 41-yard line.
This business, that's called a make good.
Yes, it is. And it's a fumble. Cliff Gross fumbles. And the Dolphins think they have it. Oh, somebody's got it. And if Hantak's saying that, he means the quarterback. But all the body language would tell you it's Miami.
Well, it's going to be whoever Dick Hantak sees with the football first.
Yeah, he said he's got it. He's got it. That was Dick's voice.
It most certainly has changed possession several times in this time span. There is a fierce struggle going on for that football.
And an agonizing moment for the coaches.
This is when it really gets difficult. It's a struggle now, and it's worth fighting over.
Well, the Harbaugh comes out of the pile with a football and holds it up to the heavens.
Boy, his size 48 jersey is now a 60. He was mauled. Harbaugh is shaken up.
Dick waiting for the crowd to quiet down a little, I think.
Well, this time is benefiting Jim Harbaugh.
We have a simultaneous recovery of the fumble. Both the defense and the offense had possession. In this situation, the ball belongs to the offensive team. They're down.
Harbaugh and Singleton, and Infante calls a timeout.
Well, that is why the referee has a field mic, and that was well used by Dick Hantak.
Well, and it was simultaneous, too.
Tie goes to the offense.
Boy, watch their helmet. Singleton's helmet hits Harbaugh right there in the ear hole. And Jim Harbaugh, while he does a tremendous job of fighting for the football, is shaken up, comes out, has to drop to a knee, and he has been replaced. Paul Justin, the backup quarterback, is now in the game for the Colts. So Jim Harbaugh, too hurt to continue, but somehow able to maintain a struggle and come out of there with simultaneous possession. That's pretty tenacious work by a quarterback.
So here's Justin, who made his NFL debut with the Bears a few years back, but has thrown only 44 career passes until this one, and it's incomplete. Sean Dawkins couldn't hold on.
Justin threw that perfectly.
Now they're down fighting for a ball now that the players think is live.
Justin hitting Dawkins right on the numbers.
And that was a third down play, so Indy will now be forced to punt.
Take a look at this, Justin, without any warm-up whatsoever. Here comes Dawkins, top of the screen on the slant. Perfect.
But he did not have control. Even though he took the necessary steps, he didn't have control. The ball was sliding down his hip the entire time.
Should have had control.
Yes, he should have.
O.J. McDuffie back to receive the kick. Chris Gardocki.
Where'd that Justin go to college?
I think he went to a school in Tempe, Arizona that faced Nebraska the other night, I think.
I'll be your setup man anytime.
Fair catch called for. And a 48-yard punt as McDuffie takes it at the 13-yard line. Harbaugh trying to get well in a hurry.
Not on the head that was delivered by Chris Singleton.
Second down, 7. Kosar and miscommunication there. Stanley Pritchett, the intended receiver. Third down.
It was so tough for a quarterback who has not done the principal work during the course of the week, working with the offense you put in to go against a particular team. And now we have an injured Colt down. Another one. It's just hard to believe. This is Tony McCoy, another defensive player for the Colts down.
Tony's had a good ball game so far. Remember that sack in the first half on Bernie Kosar where he almost planted him here in the turf? Yeah, Jim, that's the smile of a guy who appears to have returned to his original zip code.
McCoy has 2 sacks tonight. And Coriat and Grant, 2 guys who are in uniform. Quentin on the right, Stephen Grant on the left in civvies.
Grant, of course, missed last week with a full groin, aggravated that again tonight, and Coriat injured his calf, according to the Indianapolis coaches I talked with at halftime.
Well, the training room just got a little more crowded. Now with Tony McCoy limping off.
No team has ever welcomed a bye week more than the Colts right now, and they'll get one next week.
Another critical third down now for the Dolphins, deep in their own territory at their own 17-yard line, and every seat in this stadium is filled, and it's safe to assume that every one of them, almost all of them, will be making a lot of noise here trying to disrupt Miami's offense.
Freddie Joe Nunn comes in to spell McCoy along the defensive front. There he is.
Oh, they're really playing out of position now.
Originally
move Freddie Joe inside when he's a defensive end.
Well, and originally came into the league as a linebacker, drafted by the Cardinals, and then they turned him into a defensive end. He was an excellent pass rusher.
Next stop, nose tackle.
3rd and 7. They have to get it to the 24 to convert, and it's another sack. It's Bernard Whittington.
Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, showing no mercy. Every critical situation, he comes with the all-out blitz on Kosar. Another corner blitz. I think Ray Buchanan came in that time.
Damn, but they're only picking up. Miami is only picking up 1 original starter from this Colt defense. That's how withered they have been. They have brought people from out of position, and they've still been able to get to Kosar.
Yep. Yeah, the blitzer, Buchanan, untouched, but didn't even get in on the play. It was actually a blocked player that made the sack.
5th time Kosar has been sacked. A booming kick. 56 yards. Marvin Harrison. And he gets taken down immediately. So Kidd with a terrific kick. Sean Wooden makes the tackle. And we have 8:22 remaining. And we also have a flag down.
Oh, wasted. Yeah, watch out for that back line here with your Kidd.
Kidd gets it away. Another beauty. Even better. 64 yards as Harrison is a flag down on the return, and another flag gets thrown. I think they're 2 separate incidents here. Lewis Oliver makes the tackle.
Jim Harbaugh walking back out to the Colts huddle.
Oh, do they love him here in Indianapolis?
Well,
Captain comeback.
Every first down now is a real big plus for the Indianapolis Colts. The question is, can Miami stop them from running the ball?
This is Lamont Warren. Not on this play they can. It's a 5-yard gain. That's be an unusual feeling for Harbaugh not being 18 down. Now he's in there to protect the lead for a change.
You're right. That is something they don't have a great deal of experience in doing.
What a remarkable performance, though, last week against the Cowboys. Truly an unbelievable performance in the second half. They went into that game with 6 starters out of the lineup, down 18 points at one point, and come back and win at 25-24. Hey, they're building up a fan base here in Indianapolis.
You can win tight ball games like this if you win the battle on the line of scrimmage. That's what the Colts are attempting to do right now.
Defensive coordinator George Hill watching his unit try to stop Warren as he takes it up to the 35, and that's going to set up a very big 3rd and 2 now with Daniel Stubbs in on the tackle and the clock ticking down to 7:12 left in the 4th.
Warren got a couple of tough yards out of that. Smart running, didn't take it to the outside where he would have stretched it out and probably not got those 2 yards. But it'll still leave Harbaugh probably in the pass mode. But the Infante pass mode is a pretty secure one.
But he has an option here, Frank. They've had so much success running the football. It's something that Miami has to account for. They cannot just play all-out pass here. They're in the shotgun, but still, they could still drop it off.
3rd and 2. He sends everybody into the pattern. Now Harbaugh flush, seeks that first down, and he's out of bounds very close to the marker. It's right on the 37-yard line.
Well, he had his eye on it all the way.
Chased out by Shane Burton. This looks like it's going to be a 2-inch measurement either way. And it is a first down.
Talked about Bill Tobin, the director of football operations here. He also drafted Harbaugh as the #1 draft pick for the Bears back in 1986.
I don't think his speakers are working. He had to come over to the sideline and get the play. He was tapping his helmet like his speakers weren't working. He communicates directly with Lindy Infante, and he ran over to the sideline to actually get the call.
First down at the 37-yard line. And this is Crockett. We saw Tobin. Of course, this team is owned by Robert Irsay, who tonight had his name put up in the initial Ring of Honor spot here at the Dome in Indianapolis. Robert Irsay, as many of you know, suffered a very debilitating stroke in November, and he's been incapacitated since. Just spent 6 weeks at the Mayo Clinic. He is back home tonight, and there is his son, Jim, who is running this ball club and brought in Tobin to run the football operations.
He told me that his dad, though, does have awareness. He knows what's happening. They gave him the game ball from their Dallas victory last week, and he's certainly aware of what's happening tonight on a Monday nighter.
Right. Warren close to a first down. He also wanted to say, since in some media circles speculation has been fueled that the Colts will move and perhaps to Cleveland, and that speculation fueled by the fact that the Colts have had trouble selling seats this season, even after their performance last year, and also the fact that if and when Robert Irsay dies, it could be a Miami-type situation with tax problems. And I spoke with Jim before the game, and he said nothing could be further from the truth. There is no hint of truth to that speculation. We'll be able to retain the team in the family, and he's working right now with the mayor and others in terms of a new lease arrangement. 3rd down and 1.
I want to add one thing to that after this play.
As Harbaugh rolls and too high, intended for Dilger. It's 4th down.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts Indianapolis and helps Miami a lot because Dilger was wide open. This is just a lob from Harbaugh to Dilger, but he just puts too much juice on it and it sails over his head.
How about the little bit of pressure, though? He had to throw it out of over a pass rusher and just put too much on it.
Look at Dilger. He is wide open. The ball just behind him and high. The one thing you said about all that, Al, that remains a little mystifying to me, though, is the fact that here is a team that almost went to the Super Bowl. For the rest of their home games, they have like 14 or 15,000 seats available for each game.
Very unusual.
That's not the type of support you'd expect.
Gardaki's kick bounces inside the 10 and is down at the 2. Well, in 1988, we made our first visit here on a Monday night, and we will never forget that night. It was Halloween night. Monday Night Football had never come to Indianapolis, and they really did it up. It was spooky.
That's the Frank section.
Yep. They had 60,000 masks.
The Dan section. You know, I knew it. Why did I? It was one of the great. I can't begin to tell you what it was like to walk out on the field. And, of course, they just whooped up on the Broncos. That's the highest point total in Monday Night Football history. The 55 points scored by the Colts.
Killed them. Eric Dickerson had a big night.
This will be a real test for the Dolphins.
First down from the 3-yard line. Again, Dan Marino with a sprained ankle out of the game since the middle of the first quarter. It's been Bernie Kosar the rest of the way. And Abdul-Jabbar tries to give them some breathing room, and Elijah Alexander makes the tackle, and Harbaugh is still shaken.
Jim Harbaugh, well, he took a hard hit. Did you see him hit the ground when he went sailing for that first down? But you're right, Jim Harbaugh is, I think, paying the price for that shot to the head.
Marino has already paid the price tonight. Again, Miami unable to get anything going on the ground. 28 total yards on the ground. Second and 8. 3:45 to go. Abdul-Jabbar lunges up to the 11. It's going to be third down and a crucial 2.
Boy, that's a... You know how long those 2 yards must seem to Jimmy Johnson right now as he surveys this deal? Gary Stevens there, the offensive coordinator on the right. That's a long 2 yards when you haven't been able to run the ball with any effectiveness at all. There's the other Jim Johnson.
He's close to being in a 2-down mode, though. The way Indianapolis has moved the football tonight, it would be awfully tough to turn it over if you're going to get it back.
3:05 left. Third and 2. And Abdul-Jabbar dropped it. He had an easy first down.
Oh, he was thinking run before he caught it.
It's a tough call right here. You know, this is one of those deals. You gotta try to hope your defense can pull it off after punting, because the game is over if you don't make it.
They are afforded the luxury here because they do have all of their timeouts to punt and then take their timeouts.
I think that plus the 2-minute warning.
Right.
Totally
plus the 2-minute warning.
Totally dictates the fact that they are going to punt. There was a temptation.
Right. Yep. They've got 4 stoppages of the clock at their disposal.
Abdul-Jabbar, that ball perfectly thrown by Kosar.
And here's Kidd, who's been terrific tonight. 44-yard punt. Harrison, the number 1 draft choice out of Syracuse, spinning and darting and taking it to the 44-yard line.
He's too exciting for his own good.
Yeah.
Dug him a little hole right there.
Well, if the Dolphins were looking at a long way to go and a short time to get there, but it'll be a, I would imagine, sleepless flight back to Miami for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar after this drop. All right. Oh, we've got a punter getting in here a little bit. That looked like a base brawl.
Colts at the Miami 44-yard line. The best starting position for Indy tonight. 2:46 left on the clock.
Think they might run it?
Yep. But it's incumbent on the Dolphins to stop them, and they do, and they take their first time out here with 2:39 and second down and 8. And well, when you think of Dan Marino, among other things, you think about the great come from behind wins that he has led. There it is, 40 times has he led his team to a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or overtime, meaning they were either trailing or tied and took the lead for the last time. 7 more than Elway. But they won't have him tonight.
Well, this is a team that has been ringing the register in their first 3 games. 24, 38, and 36 points. And tonight it does make you think about how good this Colts team has become, that they can play this well with this many people hurt.
Yeah, it's incredible. 2nd and 9, and it's a draw play, and it's Crockett. He takes it to the 38-yard line. 3rd down. Now Miami has to take a timeout, and they have to stop from the 38. 2.5 to go. Colts on top. 10-6.
Again, they totally trust Harbaugh to put it up in the air.
He stumbles, but remains upright, then throws, and the catch is made at the 33-yard line by Harrison.
Where's this spot now?
Second superb catch Harrison has made tonight.
You know, I think they would have been better served texting of one of your alums, Alan Malibu, the columnist for the LA Times, who passed away last week. In fact, John Robinson, the coach of your alma mater, USC, rearranged practice so he could eulogize one of the really great guys in sports journalism.
It's been not only a fine journalist, but a great friend of the University of Southern California.
Yes.
We'll miss notes on a scorecard.
You bet. A lot of people will. The Colts right now with a 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line as Indy gets set, if they can run the clock out, to go 4-0, and Terrell Buckley and the Dolphins will head home, take an off week, and then Jimmy Johnson's team gets ready to face Seattle at home.
So much excitement in South Florida at the start of the Dolphins, and how quickly we forget it was a year ago the Dolphins got off to a 4-0 start before they lost 7 of their last 12.
Well, Jimmy Johnson has always referred to Dan Marino as the candy store. Doesn't want to go to the store too often. Unfortunately for the Dolphins tonight, the candy store was chained and padlocked.
Yeah. Lamont Warren. Well, that'll write a finish to it, to the 19-yard line.
As an offensive player, and specifically an offensive lineman, there is no sweeter feeling in the world than protecting a lead and running the football down the throat of your opponent. It is the most satisfying thing that can possibly happen in a football game. And right now, the Indianapolis Colts are experiencing that feeling.
Miami takes a timeout. It's funny, Falk is gone, but tonight Crockett's run for 81 yards. Warren has run for 69 yards.
Well, but look at the Colts that have stepped up tonight. With Stephen Grant went down, Coriat went down, Burrow stepping up, Harrod, Whittington. I mean, names that are not household names in pro football. Had some great performances tonight for the Colts.
No, this was not a pretty football game. This was a physical contest that was won on the line of scrimmage by the Colts. They dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides, and their reward for that is a victory.
And Neil down here, the irony too, Dan, is that when we saw Lindy Infante during the preseason, he said the most critical question I have to answer is the offensive line. Pretty good answer tonight.
Yeah, pretty. They got better tonight. Marshall Faulk will be back. They came a long ways tonight. Guys ought to be pleased with themselves. And this crowd certainly is pleased with themselves. They got the white towels going.
Well, Harbaugh led them to 2 wins last year and 1 the year before.
Shula or Johnson.
Yeah.
The result's the same. Although this is without Dan Marino, Miami will want to put an asterisk behind this one.
Yeah. Miami will go to 3-1. Indy is now 4-0, so it's Indy on top in the East. And then Miami and Buffalo 3-1 after yesterday's win over Dallas. And next Monday night, we will move to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where the Eagles, another 3-1 team, meet the world champion Cowboys at 1-3.
And the standing O continues.
Well, I think Jim Harbaugh, the pride of Michigan, is telling people that Brett Favre isn't the only tough quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, we've got some pushing and no time for this.
Yep.
Not on the road, guys.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson hasn't been out of the winner's circle since that famous ice game with Leon Lett and the fumble when he was coaching the Cowboys in Miami. He had won 11 consecutive games, counting 3 in postseason. So it's been a long time since that man has walked off. At the outset as Chris Boniol tees it off to kick off for the Dallas Cowboys. And back deep to receive for the Philadelphia Eagles, Derek Witherspoon, who ran a kickoff back for a touchdown against Atlanta last week. And Mark Sabe back there with him as well. From rocking Philadelphia, here we go as Boniol sends it down to the 8-yard line, and Witherspoon comes back to the short side of the field and gets run out of bounds up at the 28-yard line by Darren Woodson. Now the Eagles, guided by Rodney Peete, who took over for Randall Cunningham in Game 5 last year and is 12-4 in his 16 games as the Eagles starter. And with him, Ricky Waters in the backfield, Kevin Turner, the blocking back, Irving Fryer and Chris T. Jones outside, and Jason Dunn out of Eastern Kentucky, the rookie tight end. Brooks, Panos, Mackenzie Holmes, and Cooper, the front 5. From the 28-yard line, first down, Philadelphia. Turner, the fullback, Waters, the tailback, and it's Ricky behind Turner to the outside and then taken down an arm tackle by Tony Tolbert, reaching out with the right arm to knock him down. And here is the Dallas defensive alignment tonight, the 4-3 with Tolbert, Hennings, Lett, and McCormick. The front 4, Charles Haley out with a bad back, here but not in uniform. Thomas, Strickland, and Smith are the linebackers. And Kevin Smith made a comeback from Achilles surgery last year with Dion on the other side. Marion and Woodson are the safeties, and there is Charles Haley, who's been told to rest for a couple of weeks. Didn't play last week, won't play tonight. They have a bye week next week because of the bad back. On 2nd and 7, Peete, the short drop, and hits Ricky Waters, who seeks the first down as Darren Smith makes the tackle, and Ricky Waters, with that extra effort, does pick up the first.
Ricky Waters, now in his 6th year, has really emerged as the offensive power for the Philadelphia Eagles, both running the football and receiving the football. He is having a superb year. They're using him out of the backfield as a receiver. This is the West Coast offense, the old cliche now, but they do it with the kind of a Ray Rhodes touch or a John Gruden touch. He is the offensive coordinator. They really keep Ricky Waters in the game, running or receiving.
Well, you saw his listed weight there at 217 pounds. He's actually more like 225 or 226, and you see how that added power has aided Ricky Waters' game. Darren Smith makes contact with Waters. Waters takes him for about a 5-yard ride and the first down. That's a newfound aspect of Ricky Waters' game that has really, really helped him pick up extra yardage in key situations right there to start this game.
Ricky off to an excellent start this year, averaging 4.9 yards per carry, in contrast to, as we mentioned at the top, Emmitt Smith averaging just 3.3. Peete on first down from the 40, stays in the pocket and then throws incomplete, intended for Chris T. Jones over the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
The Dallas Cowboys' problems have been primarily on their offense, even though Charles Haley is the big performer on the defensive unit, the man who puts the pressure on the passer. But their defense has played rather well. After their 4 games, they were 2nd overall. Their defense has only given up 4 touchdowns to their opponent's offenses, so they're not playing that poorly on this side of the ball.
Well, the one guy up front, Frank, who is really dominating is Leon Lett. The big cat has had good years in the past, but this is his best start ever. He hasn't been blocked yet this year.
They're going to try to rotate people in against him tonight. Guy McIntyre and Joe Panos.
2nd down and 10. And Ricky Waters takes it up to the 43-yard line. That's Tony Tolbert, the left end, along with Darren Woodson in on the tackle and setting up a 3rd down and 6.
Tony Tolbert there is another reason the Dallas Cowboy defense is playing so much better. Tony had multiple surgeries after the season last year, had both knees worked on, an elbow, and he is back where he's playing pain-free, and he was a darn good player before those injuries slowed him down, and he's back to that level or maybe above it.
Well, if you only had Haley active on the other side, right now he's drawing pretty much double coverage.
with Fryer in motion. And Pete the deep drop, and then he throws underneath, and the catch is made by Jones, who reaches for what appears to be a first down. Chris T. Jones making the catch at the 49 and then trying to suck the extra yard out of it.
Well, Chris T. Jones has really come on. He was a third-round draft pick a year ago and played behind the likes of Fred Barnett and Calvin Williams. They're both gone, but I'll tell you, if Chris T. Jones will come across the middle, as will their other wide receiver, Irving Fryer. You need that in Ray Rhodes' West Coast offense. It's short passes, they're high percentage passes, but they are tough on the receivers.
Joe Panos and Barrett Brooks both put a shoulder on Leon Lett, but he still drops Rodney Peete. Good job by Rodney of sitting in there waiting for his receiver to make the break. And so far, 2 first downs for the Philadelphia Eagles, both on excellent second efforts. The first by Ricky Watters, the second one by Chris T. Jones. Those were 2 situations that could have ended up being punts. Instead, first downs for the Eagles.
Well, long drives have characterized the Philadelphia offense this season. They've done so well with drives of 80 yards or more.
From the 50-yard line, here's Waters, and the Eagles try to mount a long drive, and it was a long drive on the game's opening drive last week that did the Cowboys in. Buffalo had the ball for almost the entire first quarter, marched the length of the field and scored, and that was the difference in a 10-7 Buffalo win. Ricky Waters handling the football, as you can see, almost 25 times a game as an Eagle, as opposed to his years with the 49ers, 1992 through 94.
Well, there is one concern. He does cough it up once in a while. That's his style of running, though. He's twisting, turning. He's struggling for every inch you can get out of it. Sometimes you lose it.
Pete on 2nd and 5. Throws to the fullback, Turner. Good move to get the first down. Tackled at the 34-yard line.